Hello everyone and welcome back to the Coach Dave Academy Gran Turismo channel. I'm Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tishney, and we're once again going to be looking at this week's daily races on Gran Turismo 7. Now the first daily race A, we're doing actually Rallycross, which is not something I do very often on Gran Turismo 7, but we're still going to jump into a lap guide, tell you the basics about how to do this circuit, and then we'll go into a fast lap and then look at some Delta data, because I've got a lot of places to improve myself. However, the key braking markers, they're going to be helpful to you. Let's jump into that lap guide then, and let me tell you how to start this daily race. So here we are. Now, first off, you've got to get the start right of a lap. So you can see here, I've just swung it round here, and it looks like I've missed a start, but I'm going to reverse all the way back. Essentially, you're doing a rallycross start to a lap. So we go back to the wall. We to hold the handbrake, go to second gear, then set off. Now, you saw +5 brake balance on the right-hand side. That's what I'm using here in the Ford Focus Group B rally car. What's the fastest rally car? They're all very close. Now, we get to this point already in the lap, okay? So we've got this part here where the tarmac goes to dirt, and we have the tyre wall there on the left-hand side. These are your two brake markers here at Catalunya Rallycross Circuit. So as you approach these, what I want you to do is I want you to hit the brake just before you get to them. I want you to brake in a straight line and then begin to turn the car. Now, normally you should drop to second gear for this one because it will just cause some rotation and you have to a tiny bit of rotation. You don't want to slide the car too much. In rallycross, or rallying in general in Gran Turismo, it's all about forward momentum. If you're doing all the slidey stuff, you're arguably not going that fast. But look here, I'm in third gear, on and off the throttle. That allows the tyres to grip, and I'm just trying to keep the car nice and tight. I can then accelerate straight forward towards the jump. Now, when you approach the jump, I want you to lift off. Arguably, you can even brake here as well. It just allows the car then to turn and rotate. Notice how I do that there. Got a little bit of the inside here, and you're aiming for that tyre wall. If you aim for it, you should miss it. Now, when you get to this point, this is your braking marker now for the double apex hairpin. So this is a very tight corner, and it's very easy to get this wrong because you actually want to get the slidiness going. You want the weight to transition. So you've just landed like this, so all the weight's over on this side, and then what you're trying to do is get all the weight to shift to this side. So it's like a Scandinavian flick, essentially, just an extreme variation of it. So as I come into here, I'm going to hit the brakes. I want to clip the first apex, which is the first curb on the inside, coming up. I'm then going to go out a little bit to then get very nice and tight then to the second part. Here we go then. So I hit the first one. I go out a little bit. Notice I'm dabbing the brakes a little bit, trying to get the car rotated, letting the car roll. I'm in second gear. You want to stay in second gear. When you get straight, we then accelerate out the corner, up to third gear. Try and keep it a bit tighter than I do here, and then head out towards the right-hand side. Now, we've got these billboards on the right-hand side here for Gran Turismo 7. The second to last one, the one I've highlighted right here, is your brake marker for this left-hander. What I want you to do is point the car towards the corner as you go on the brakes here. What will happen is you'll brake diagonally towards the corner. Now, the best way to do this, in my opinion, is to keep a nice tight line on this corner. But you're going to see me go out a little bit. Now, you can go out and come back. It's a bit harder to do. So try and keep it nice and tight and clean is probably a better way to do it. But if you're finding the aggression, really chucking it in there is working for you, then do that. But what you'll see here is I'm going to point towards the corner and go on the brakes. That's the critical part here. Notice that, braking diagonally. Start to release the brakes as I get towards the curb. And now trying to get the car around the corner. Trying to get it nice and tight. So I lift off there to stop the slide and then start accelerating. What we're going to do now is stop it here. Now, there's no brake marker here. I don't really have one. What I'm aiming to do here is to try and get the best line through so I can hit the left-hand part of the chicane to just accelerate through the corner. So the way to do this, you notice that I'm slightly to the left. I've just started turning right. You can see that by the red dot there. As I go to the right, the weight will transition. My goal here is to get as close to that tyre wall on the right side as possible to open up the left-hander. That is my goal. The better you do this, the better your lap time will be. Because what you'll find is if you go to not close enough to the right, you'll just end up just sat there sliding on the left. Notice what we do here, hit the brakes, try to get the car turned. And here's where you lose a lot of time because you want to accelerate out of here with as minimal sliding as possible. Over towards the right we go. I'd lift off a little bit here. Don't necessarily have to do that. Get to this point here. So just above my head is a Gran Turismo 7 billboard. The very last one on the left-hand side. That's a very good brake mark. It's the one I was using here. You could also use the start box on the right-hand side. Obviously, we're not using that part of the circuit here in the Rallycross time trial stage, but you do use it in the race. But essentially, either of these two hit the edge of your screen, you're going to hit the brakes. Go down to first gear for this. What I want you to do is chuck the car in. The handbrake, it didn't work for me. So what I have to do here is I have to just literally chuck the car in and allow the weight to rotate the car. So second gear now, it's like a Scandinavian flick. I've come in that way. I've then rotated the car this way. I'm in first gear. I go up to second to get the grip on the tyres. I'm looking to just straight away accelerate out of the corner. Lift off the throttle if you need to, just to get the grip. It's better to lift off, let the car grip, and then go. So as we come into here then, the tyre wall there on the left was our brake marker as we come through here. Notice there we're trying to keep it nice and tight. Third gear, on and off the throttle, let the car grip. As we approach the hill, what we need to do is just lift off a little bit here and go towards the right-hand side. Aim towards the tyre wall, and then we're going to hit the brakes. Clip the curb on the left, go out, and then we're going to want to clip the second part here. There we go. Happy days. Accelerate out of here, up to third gear, over towards the left-hand side, then towards the right. Second to last billboard on the right-hand side is our brake marker. We're going to hit the brakes out, aim towards the corner, release the brakes, try and keep the car nice and tight. We haven't done that a little bit here. Now it's all about setting this up. So we need to get as close as we can to the right, over towards the left-hand side. We could probably do that a little bit better and carry more speed. Over towards the right-hand side. Last billboard on the left, we're going to hit the brakes, down towards first gear, chuck the car left. Here we go, close to the wall there. Second gear, out we go, 43.7. Let's jump to Delta then, and let's see where we can improve. So here we are in Delta then. Now in Delta, what I've done here is I've loaded the fastest ghost that is available to me at the time, which was Max Power's lap. And we know Max Power is a fantastic racer. So Max Power is in the Lancer Evo. I'm in the Focus. They are very similar. There are Focuses up there as well. So we can compare these like for like. Let's jump into this one then in Delta. So as we accelerate out of here then, who's ahead here? We're about even there. Now, I think Max Power from memory does a bit of a donut rather than going to the wall. A donut to carry the momentum out the corner. It's very skillful indeed. But we're carrying the same speed here as we head towards the first turn. Now, Max Power actually lifts off a little bit and then goes on the brakes a little bit later than I do here as we go into here. And as we go around then, so initially in this corner, I'm actually up on Max Power, but Max Power looks like he carries more speed, but arguably I'm up by the end of it. In fact, though, when we get to this point here, I let off. Max Power carries on over the jump. We both lift off. Max Power actually goes on the brake turn through the right-hander. As we head to the double apex corner, I'm a 10th down. So where did I lose that 10th? So as we come out of here, I'm up, I'm up, I'm up, I'm up. I lift off. That's where I lose my time there. I lift off on the left-hander. Max Power keeps it flat. That's very interesting. So I need to improve on that bit there. That's heading towards the jump. And you can see the speed difference here. Nearly 10 miles an hour. So then we lift off for the jump. Max Power goes on the brakes as we go into the double left-hander. So I lose a lot there just on that acceleration. Now as we come down here, Max Power's just carrying more speed. So he's just got a better line there. A much better line. You can see actually the yellow dot there. Max Power's just got a better line. Cuts it more on the inside. So that's where I need to improve there as well. We go through the hairpin then. As we leave the hairpin, we're about the same. He's carrying a bit more speed there, so that acceleration is definitely looking better there for Max Power as we head towards the left-hander here. So notice Max Power's line there stays more towards the left-hand side here. I go towards the corner a bit more, and I reckon that's the better line in my opinion. But here we go, 2.5 tenths in. Notice that I gain a tenth instantly as we go into the corner. As we go around, oh, it's about even. I reckon it's a bit quicker my way. I still think that. So as we go into here then, this is setting up for that left-hander. And we can already see here, Max Power does this better than me just on the yellow line. So 2.5 tenths in. As we get there, look at, I lose 2 tenths. And Max Power just on more on the inside there. If you zoom in, look at this. So manages to get more and closer to the tyre wall, which opens up this corner. And it allows Max Power to carry that more speed through the corner. And you can see there, 2 miles an hour difference. So we're going to head down towards the hairpin then. Notice there it takes a wider angle of attack, which is so much better. So we're 4.5 tenths down here. But as we leave, we lose another 2 tenths. So what we're seeing here, with just opening the corners in rallying, allows you to just carry that forward momentum, which I did talk about, and that will give you some lap time. Something to think about here in terms of Daily Race A. I definitely need to improve on Rallycross, something that I will probably be looking at later on this week. But we're finished with Daily Race A now. We're going to get to just pure tarmac stuff with Daily Race B, where we're heading to Interlagos, and we're in Group 3 machinery. But which one did I choose? As we head over towards the right-hand side then, we're going to see what I chose, which was the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 then. I'm using +3 brake balance. I'll explain the brake balance a little bit later on, because normally I'm on +5. Now on the right side there, I've highlighted what looks like nothing, but if you actually look closer, it's some grey stairs. This is after the 100 board, okay? These grey stairs on the right, perfect brake marker. Now in the race, there are 2 red canopies on the left-hand side that you can use on the pit wall. The second canopy is the one where you brake. It's in line with those grey stairs, which you can see here on Chase Cam. So make sure you use this one, okay? What you're going to do then is you're going to go hard on the brakes. You're going to head towards the middle of the circuit right now, okay? Notice that I'm heading towards the middle. I'm going to drop down to first gear. You don't have to do that. You can stay in second. First gear gives it more rotation, but that could cause some more oversteer. Notice I go up to second gear now. As I go through the right, I'm going to cut the inside here. I'm going to lift off a little bit. That gives the Lamborghini some stability. nicely. Then I'll accelerate on the exit. Now, you do have to be careful of understeer there and that curb chucking you out. It's the reason why you lift. Now, when you clip this curb on the left, it may force a little bit of oversteer. Just be careful of that. Otherwise, you actually might suffer some understeer just with the weight transition through that left-right section there of the Senna S here at Interlagos. We're on the straight now. We're going to head towards the end of Sector 1. So, arguably, one corner in Sector 1. You can focus on Sector 1 and look to improve it. I'm not sure what this was on this particular lap. It should be a 0.3. It is a 0.3. Happy days indeed. Right. This next corner then. We've got the 100 board and we've got the end of the wall on the right, which you can use, but I don't use. In the Lamborghini, I'm using the piece of tarmac up ahead that joins with the circuit right there. So I'm trying to brake as close as I can to that. Now, I would stay as far right as possible until I get close to the corner and I'm down in second gear, then turn in. It's a very common mistake here to turn in a bit too early to this corner, and what happens then is you understeer out towards the dark green stuff on the exit, which is very slippy indeed. You don't want to be there. So stick towards the right side, follow that white line. We're going to drop down to second gear. We'll release the brakes when we get to second gear. We turn in. We want to clip the curb on the inside. That will force some rotation, and then we can start accelerating there in second gear. With the Lamborghini being mid-engine rear-wheel drive, what happens is the rear gets planted with the weight of the engine, so it should be quite grippy there on the exit. We continue on through. We're going to head over towards the left-hand side now, and what we're going to be looking for is that marshal box in the distance. I'm pointing it out before we've even got there here in terms of this video. There we go. Here we go. It stops right there. So this marshal box is your brake mark. You see I've just got on the brakes right now. This is a double apex corner. So what this means is you want to clip the curb, go out a little bit, and then clip the curb again. Basically, you're going to go in, out, in. And there's no shaking about, so don't worry about that. So as we go into the curb here, we're going to clip it. We're going to be in third gear. We're going to let the car roll. When we get to the middle of the corner, we want to start accelerating and really get the car turned back into that second curb. And that's the trick to this corner. It's very easy to just absolutely slam it into this first part, go way wide, and then lose all the time here. Notice how I turn in now. I'm trail braking all the way in. I clip the curb. It rolls out. When we get to the middle of the corner, I'm looking to start accelerating. I lift off a little bit to make sure it doesn't understeer. I'm pretty much at the curb there, and we can continue on through. Because I ran wide a little bit here, I'm still turning as we get to this braking zone here. Now, I call this the McDonald tyre marks, okay? Just because they meet. You can see that the furthest one comes in, this one comes in, they meet like that. I'm braking just before I get to this. What I want to do is drop down to first gear. Now, on this particular lap, what happens is, because I just missed it by a tiny margin, I'm still turning. So when I go on the brakes, the weight's going to continue to transition and go more extreme, which forces a bit of oversteer. If you do get that, try and just control it a little bit. It can help you around this corner. Sometimes it might just be a bit too extreme, and you just have to really concentrate here, maybe even overlay. We're going to drop down to first gear, though. There we go. So it's a little bit of oversteer. We let the car roll. It then settles. We then go on the accelerator as we accelerate through the corner. Now, we're going to get to this point here, and I'm going to hide my head, and I should have already done that. On the left-hand side, we have the start of the curb. This is your brake marker. This is a long left-hander. I want you to drop down to first gear. What's going to happen here is going to dab the brakes, drop down to first gear, and let the car roll. And it's going to continue to roll through the corner. Now, what you'll find is it understeers and then stops understeering. When it stops understeering, I want you to go straight to second gear. Arguably, there's an accelerating marker, which will sort of tell you when this should be happening as well. And we're going to get to that in a second as we go through this corner. But watch what I do first here, okay? So I'm going to hit the brakes, first gear, trail brake, and let the car roll. And it's understeering, understeering, understeering. It stops understeering now. Oh, look at that. There's a dark green patch on the left-hand side there, which has just appeared on my screen. Amazing. This is my accelerating marker. Okay, so it's appeared on the screen. I go, aha, I need to accelerate. So I've gone to second gear. And what's going to happen is the car's going to rotate itself. Obviously, as I go on the throttle, the rear plants itself. The weight goes to the right side of the car, and the car will rotate. Arguably, that can cause too much oversteer, and you can get power oversteer on the exit. So what you want to do is get the car to rotate, and then straighten up the steering. If you straighten up the steering, you should be absolutely fine and make it through this corner. So watch that red dot there of my steering. I instantly go straight there to avoid any power oversteer. I use all of the curb to make it of use to me. Straighten up, reduce the angle of the corner, and that stops some power oversteer. So we get to this point here then. We've got two brake markers. On the right side, we've got the start of the curb if you want to use that. On the left, we've got the dark green patch. Easy, obvious brake markers. Now, you can approach this corner in two ways. You can go for a really tight line. I kind of like the wider line in to try and square it off to then accelerate out. The reason for that, if you go for a tight line, you end up just understeering a little bit on the exit and you're still turning the car as you accelerate. Can cause some oversteer. If you go for the wider line, what happens is you can just square it off and then you just straight accelerate out of the corner, which for me is a little bit better and it gives you a better line. So I go out wide here and then release the brakes, let the car turn it now. So I've gone for a wide line in. We've got a little bit of understeer there, but nothing major here. You notice we're into the on throttle. We had to delay 100%, but we can now straighten the car up, head over towards the right side a little bit, then towards the left. As we come into this corner now, we're going to lift a tiny bit because we want to clip this curb on the left-hand side. I'll just rotate the car a little bit as we did there. Then we can go full throttle and head towards the final corner. Now for this final corner, we're looking on the right hand side for the cross that is in the barrier. You know, you can see there in the catch fence there are no crosses apart from this one right here. Really obvious brake marker and one I use. For those from GT Sport days, you might remember I used to use a patch of grass. Don't need to anymore. We've got a big old cross in the catch fence. So I'm going to hit the brakes right here. Now, you can drop to first gear if you want. I just find second gear far more stable for this last corner. So I highly recommend you use second gear as well. So we're going to follow the white line. And then as we get to second gear, we'll start to release brakes, let the car turn in. You want to clip the curb on the inside. Now, try not to outbrake yourself this corner because this is your run all the way to the line. It's uphill. You need every ounce of power, every ounce of mile an hour here to get through the corner and head up the hill here. You go wide, you're going to slow yourself coming up the hill. You just lose tons and tons and tons of time. That corner is vital for a lap, so do keep that in mind. Get that corner right and you should be game on for a very good lap. Keep it nice and tight then as you head towards the line. Just reduces that distance a little bit more and obviously it reduces your lap time. That's a 1:32.2. Let's go into a fast lap then as we head over towards the right hand side. Great stairs. We're going to hit the brakes now. Trail brake all the way in. Drop to first gear if you want to. Stay in second if you need to. Use all the curb on the left. Accelerate a little bit up to third gear. Lift off here and then continue once you've gone over the curb. Over towards the left hand side now. Really use this curb. You may suffer some power overs here. Just be careful of that as we head onto this small back straight here then as we continue on down. Remember, looking for the tarmac after the 100 board here on the right hand side. Last the late brakers. We're going to hit the brake. Going to drop down to second gear. Stay to the right as long as possible. Then turn in. Clip the curb. Accelerate through the corner. Don't go on the dark green stuff there. It's very slippy indeed as we continue on through. We're going to head over towards that left hand side. Looking for the marshal post on the left hand side. There it is. We're going to hit the brake. Double apex, not triple. As we go through here, we can then accelerate through. Clip the seconds and continue on through. McDonald's time marks. There they are. We hit the brakes down to first gear. We get a bit of oversteer. We just control that a little bit. Then we start to accelerate. Start the curb on the left. Hit the brakes. Trail brake. Let the car roll now. Roll, roll, roll. There's the dark green stuff. We start to accelerate in second gear. We continue on through. Two brake marks here. Start the curb on the right. If you want to use that one, hit the brakes. Wide line in here as we trail brake into the corner. Let the car roll. We're going to straighten up the steering as best we can. Head over towards the right hand side, then to the left. Lift off a little bit to make sure you clip the curb. Happy days. Continue on through. Looking for the cross on the right hand side now in terms of the barrier. There it is. We can hit the brakes down to second gear. Release the brakes. Turn in. Clip the curb. Accelerate very quickly indeed here as we head up the hill then. And then it's a run to the line, which once again is a 1:32.2. Let's jump into some Delta data then, because this is where it gets interesting. We need to find a couple of attempts. Once again, we are in Delta then. I've loaded the fastest Lamborghini lap on the leaderboard. There is an Audi R8 which is quicker. Technically, they're the same cars, let's be honest with you. However, they do have slightly different setups. So, yeah, I've loaded the fastest Lamborghini here. We're going to compare the two. I'm 2 temps down on this other Lamborghini lap, so it'll be interesting to see where I lose that time. So, let's kick off this lap, as always, as we go through Delta. So, we're going to head towards turn 1, literally identical as we go into here. Through there we go. We get through the corner, and there's hardly anything in it. So, happy days indeed. I'm doing that rather well. It's a really difficult corner to get right here because you do have to get that lift right. You see they don't lift half as much as I do, so they are arguably carrying a little bit more speed. But as we go around this corner, we get to the end of it, and I've carried a better line, which means I've reduced the tyres essentially just scrubbing the speed, and by the exit we're identical in terms of speed, so we're not losing any time there at all. That's nice and easy. I'm gonna head towards the fast left end. We're gonna hit the brakes here, continue on through. Oh, also a little bit of time there. That's interesting. What's happening there then? So I'm on the brakes first, so I need to brake a tiny bit later. They really do brake last late brakes here. Second gear for both of us. They're just carrying a bit more speed through the corner, it looks like, and even on the exit as well. So I lose nearly a tenth of a second there. I was already lost a little bit, but yeah, I'd say half a tenth more than anything there. We're going to head towards the right-hander now, the double apex. So already I'm on the brakes, so they're carrying a bit more speed here already. Look at this. Look at the speed difference. 5 miles an hour here as we continue on through. So I'm losing another half tenth there straight away. So it just looks like I need to carry a bit more speed, a bit more confidence in the car. Now, the Lamborghini, it's a really hard car to drive. It really is in terms of that oversteer. So confidence is a big thing. So doing laps, it just in itself will help me improve my lap time. So we're going to go to this right-hander. We know we had some oversteer into this corner, so I'm expecting to lose some time here as we go into this corner. And yes, we do. We're losing nearly a tenth there. That's to be expected. We did have that oversteer moment where literally it was just, yeah, we're just losing too much time there. So we're going to go into the left-hander now. So this is the hard braking. Through the left-hander we go. And we don't lose any time there, really. In fact, we gain a little bit there on the exit. Now, what happens here on the exit? So I'm in second there in first. There's a big difference there in itself. Okay, so we're leaving the corner. They then go up to second gear. And I actually get more speed out of that. So there's a bit of a tip for you. That left-hander is definitely a second gear corner. Now, you wouldn't know that looking at the leaderboards because they have the faster lap. But second gear, to me, is better. It's more stable, and you can continue on out that corner. They may have got wheel spin due to the first gear. You know, top of the rev range. Second gear, definitely better on that left-hander. good bit of delta data there as we head into this right-hander. So we'll leave there, and we've actually gained even more time here going through there. So we've done all right here, to be honest with you, in this middle section. So I'm going to continue on through then. Do we actually lose time on this left-hander? Oh, we lose a tiny bit actually through there. What's happening here? As we get through... Well, speed-wise, we're about even, to be fair. So do we actually lose that much? Maybe a tiny bit. It's nothing major. Right, last corner. This is the vital one. The one I said that you need to get right. So let's have a look at this one. So I'm on the brakes first here as we go into this corner. As we get to the middle of the corner, they are... Oh, we're even on speed, basically. As we continue on through, I'm carrying more speed. We head towards the line, and because I carried that little bit more speed, I did gain a little bit of time. Nothing major, though, so we did do... Both of us did the corner well, but you can see how even just carrying that little bit more speed, it was only 0.5 miles an hour, was critical there in terms of getting that bit more time. And that's what I would say. I'd say that last corner is arguably going to be the big one in terms of your lap times, because it's very easy to mess up your lap everywhere else. But if you, as long as you can nail this last corner, arguably it should be a good lap, if I do say so myself. Now, we did see there in a couple of areas, so this left-hander here in the middle section, second gear exit seems to be better in my opinion, and everywhere else, I just need to have a bit more faith in the car. And Delta told me all that. I can see that in the information and the data presented to me. I love Delta for this. Right, we're going to finish there with Daily Race B. Daily Race C then. Oh, what a banger of a race this is. This is absolutely amazing, okay? So we're heading to Suzuka. In the race, there is wet weather. In the qualifying period, of course, it is just dry weather. So we're going to jump into Daily Race C at Suzuka in some classic Super GT cars. So here we are then in the Lexus SC430 GT500 car. For me, the best car out of the three in my opinion, but they're all very good. Now, as we head towards turn 1, on the right-hand side, just above the +5 brake balance, for those wondering, is the tarmac into grass. This is my brake marker as I go into turn 1. Now, as you come into here, you're still going full throttle, and then you're going to go onto the brakes. But you're not going to go to 100% braking. No, you're going to trail brake all the way through this corner, slowly coming down the gears. So from 6th all the way down to 2nd gear. Now, you can see that transition from the tarmac to grass on that right-hand side right there. But watch as I do this now, as I go into the corner. We trail braking, 50% braking, around 50% still there, coming down the gears very nicely. It allows the car to turn. Just think about the tyres doing 50% of the work in terms of turning, so they can do 50% of the braking. Now we continue on through there. We've gone back up to 3rd gear on the exit there. That's just for stability reasons. We go up to 4th gear, and then what we're going to do, we're going to drop back down to 3rd gear as we lift off and turn in. And what we're going to do is just lift off all the way through these. You can attack them more and hit the brakes, but just accelerate and lift, and make sure you go onto the curbs, because these curbs will just drag you around that little bit more. Look at this as we go through that, really clean and nice here. And then we're going to get to this point right here. So when we get to this point here, start to the curb on the right hand side, this is our brake marker. We're braking just before we get to that on the right hand side. Now, if we're further left, we can attack this corner a little bit more, because we're going to reduce the angle in terms of the corner. But we've come at it on the right hand side, so we do have to brake that a little bit more. But we're not braking 100%. We're trail braking again. We're just looking to slow the car down. Now, as we go through here, I want to keep a nice tight line. I need to keep it on the right-hand side of the circuit to have a good run on the left-hander. And that's what we're going to do here. Notice the trail braking, then we roll a little bit, then a little bit on the throttle, still letting it roll. Now we're keeping it to the right-hand side. We're going to keep going towards that right-hand side. Then we're going to go towards the left. We're going to lift off a little bit and go up to 4th gear. And then we'll continue on through. Now, I'm trying to reduce the understeer there. Now, because I clipped the curb, I went a bit wide here. And watch this. I go on the grass. Very dangerous. I lost some time there. If I'm doing that, we'll have a look at Delta to see how much time I actually lost when we get to the Delta part of the video. We're going to head towards Degna 1 then, and we've got 2 brake markers here. So on the right, we've got the lamp post there. I use that often, and I use that here as well. You can use the 50 board up ahead, but you'll brake it just before you get to that. Now, the curb of Degna 1, you don't want to go fully over it. If you attack it and hit it properly, you'll just take off and bounce off into the gravel. What you want to do is just clip the curb, okay? Just clip it. Little kiss, little peck on the as you go through the corner. That way you can carry the speed. It does mean a later turn in, but that should give you a better line and more ways to attack with speed through Degna 1. And watch what we do here. We just clip it. Look at that nice little peck, and then we can continue on through 120 miles an hour. On the left-hand side, then, we have this Marshall tent. This is our brake marker for Degna 2. Now, as it hits the edge of the screen, you can hit the brakes. I really want you to attack this corner. I found you could attack this so nicely, and the car would just like it. So what you're going to do, you're going to hit the brakes, drop to 2nd gear, release the brakes, turn in. As you approach the curb on the inside, you're going to upshift to third gear and then just plant your foot on the exit. What will happen is the car may get a little bit of wheel spin. It shouldn't do because you're not going to be in the power band initially. But as you get to straight up the steering wheel, then you're going to be in the power band. But you're going straight, so you won't get any power oversteer. Let's set a third gear, instantly on throttle now. And as we get into the power band, we're going straight, no spinning. Really hard thing to get like into, but I'm sure you can do it. Now that time there is 2 tenths down on my very best. As we continue on through here then. Now we're going to get to the Dunlop sign on the left-hand side. This is our brake marker for the hairpin. Now this hairpin, you could be last of the late brakers. You really can for this one. And I want you to point towards the corner a little bit. Now the goal here is to just get around the corner, plant your foot and get out of this corner as quick as you can. The problem is the exit, you're more than likely going to get some power oversteer, so you do have to be careful. Some people are doing second gear. I do first. We were doing first all morning, but I can see on the leaderboard some people have changed to second gear on the exit here. And arguably, it might be a bit quicker, but you will suffer a little bit of wiggle there potentially. So we're coming in here now. We're pointing towards the corner. We start to release the brakes. We keep it nice and tight. We're going to go on the throttle now. It's 50%, then 60, then 70, then up to 100. It wasn't 0 to 100. It was progressive with the throttle application. You need to do that on the exit. If you go 0 to 100 in first gear, you're spinning left or right. You're spinning somewhere anyway. Progressive application there, and we can get through the corner absolutely fine. We're going to head up towards Spoon then, and as we slow down the footage once again, we get to the escape road here at Spoon on the right side. I use this very often, the best brake marker in my opinion in terms of Spoon on the right side here. So we're going to brake just after it. We're going to drop to third gear and then chuck the car in. The idea behind chucking the car in rather than just gradually going in is that we can adjust the weight, okay? So as you turn in, the whole of the weight should just shift like that, and that should give you just a little bit less understeer. This is what we're trying to do here, reduce our understeer as we go through Spoon. And that means we can attack the exit of the corner, or in the middle of the corner, should I say, and get ready for the next part of Spoon. So here we go. We turn it in now. Look at the aggression now. We turn it in. Actually go over the curb there. We accelerate out of the corner. Now, on the right side here, it's a new marker that I've sort of identified at Suzuka. And one I highly recommend you use. Okay, so we've got this orange painted barrier. Notice that I've just hit the brakes as it hits the edge of your screen. Really good marker. Now, I often use the end of the curb here, and I've pointed that out many times. This marker is better because you're actually not looking at the end of the curb. If you look at the end of the curb, more than likely you're going to go into the grass on the right-hand side, or the slippy bit there. The orange barrier there, what I'm going to do, I'm going to just hit the brakes, drop to second gear, trail brake the car in, and just try and get the car turned in here. Critically for this corner, I don't want you to turn in too early, because if you go on the curb a lot here in this Lexus, it'll just get some power oversteer on the exit and you'll spin out. I did that a few times on really great laps. It was very frustrating. However, if you just kiss it like you did at Degner 1, it should be absolutely fine and you can accelerate out. What we can do now is go flat out 100% in terms of video speed all the way to 130R. Now 130R is flat out in the Super GT cars, so when you get to the 50 board, all I want you to do is turn in. Turn in like that. Look at that, nice and easy. No real issues there, no scrubbing of tyres at all. I use a full circuit to make sure there's the least scrubbing possible as we head towards the final corner, the Casio Triangle. Now on the right side we have this yellow line. I believe it's the old pit lane. I'm not 100%, I probably have to do some research on it. Every time I get to this I'm like, is it the old pit lane? I can't remember. That is your brake marker. Now you can brake early here as it hits the edge of your screen. You can brake a bit later as it's just gone past the end of your screen. Entirely your choice here in terms of braking. It's how confident you are on the brakes. What I want you to do is drop down to first gear for the first part of the chicane. First gear. And as you get to first gear, what you're going to do is you're going to release the brakes, which will allow the car to turn. I'm going to turn in and actually try and cut a lot of the first part of the chicane. What we'll then do is go up to second gear then, as you see right there. Accelerate a little bit more, lift off a little bit, but then go on throttle as we go over the curb to try and settle the car a little bit. Then we're 50% throttle to 100 then on the exit. We can continue on. Stick it to the right hand side there to reduce the distance to the line, which will reduce our lap time, which is what the whole point of this video is for. And we get a 148.8 there. That was the early pace set there by myself. I was quite happy with that, but I definitely had a 0.7, 0.6 on there. Easy. Right, head towards turn 1. Remember, the transition down the right hand side is our brake marker. Trail brake all the way through now. Drop to second gear, then up to third gear on the exit. Notice it rotates very nicely. Over towards the right hand side, up to fourth gear. As we turn in, lift off, drop to third gear. Use all the curve on left, accelerate, then lift off. Over to the right, clip the curb. Continue on, accelerate, then turn in there, lift off. Use all the curb, accelerate a bit more. Stop the curb on the right. We dab the brakes, slow the car down. Keep it nice and tight. Head over towards the right hand side now. As we turn in here, we lift off a little bit, go up to fourth gear, clip the curb, but don't try and mount it too much there, because this is what happens. You go and run wide. Head towards Degner 1, isolate, and last lap post on the right. I'm going to hit the brakes, turn in, clip the curb, continue on through. Marshall 10, hit the brakes, second gear, tap the corner, up to third gear. Just plant your foot, off you go, out the corner, continue towards the hairpin. We can already see our brake marker, the Dunlop sign in the distance. As it gets to the edge of the screen, you're going to hit the brakes, drop down to first gear. Be careful as you release the brakes. As you go on the throttle, progressive application of the throttle. Just be very careful there. We continue on out. We can now head towards Spoon at a much greater pace here. The escape road on the right side is our brake marker. Turn in, clip the curb over towards the right. The orange painted barrier there. We hit the brake, second gear. Try and get the car turned in. Upshift to third gear. Third gear is a very stable gear in this car. Highly recommend you use it wherever you can. Going to continue to 130R. Remember, this is flat out, 50 board, turn in, nice and easy. Casio triangle, yellow line on the right hand side is what we're looking for. Where is it? There it is. Hit the brakes, drop down to first gear, turn in, upshift to second gear now. So a little bit, lift off there, go back on throttle, continue on through. Shortest distance to the line over the right hand side, head towards the line, and once again, that's a 48.8. Let's jump to Delta and let's see how much time I actually lost. So I've loaded wins lap on the leaderboard, which is a 48.5 there. So 3 temps difference. Let's see where we can find that time. I believe I've got this lap in me anyway, just from what I ran this morning. I was very much up on that time that I did plenty of times. I just ruined the lap in a little bit of some places that I've advised you not to do. We did see I ran wide in the S's as well, the exit of the S's, so we will have a look there as well to see how much time I actually lost. So we're going to head towards turn 1 here then, and go into turn 1. So 300s down as we go into here. We go through the first part, the second part, we exit. Wow, we do it better than win there, so we gain some time straight away. We did that very nicely indeed. And what I can see here already is that I actually took a slightly tighter line. The car rotated nicely, I guess, and we can continue on through there. So we gained a little bit of time. Into the S's we go then. Now, oh, okay, this is interesting. I just saw that as we were going through here. So as we go to here, I talked about lifting off, didn't I? I talked about lifting off. Whoopsie daisy, I did not mean to click that. That's me. I talked about lifting off. So I was just lifting off. Now, Wind's attacking this more, okay? So Wind's going through here, and what Wind's going to do is dab the brakes. Now, the reason he does that is because he's attacking the corners more. You can see the yellow line. It goes more to the inside, so he has to dab the brakes to then get on the right line then for the rest of this. So as we go through here, does he gain a lot of time as we do this? We get onto the brakes at this moment in time. Get to the end of here, and I've lost 800ths through there. So Wind's aggression definitely helps. I still advise most of you to just do the lift-off situation. Braking adds an additional input. You lose consistency doing it. And if you're using this video to really just try and improve your time, even by a few temps, this is not where you're going to get the time by hitting the brake pedal. Just accelerate and lift off, in my opinion. But this is cracking driving there from Wind as we go through that. We're going to get to our left-hander now, the one where we ran wide here. And you can see how much I ran wide there by the yellow line coming back, and I stayed towards the right here. So we're 800ths down. As we go through there, how much time did we lose? Oh, it's only half a tenth there. Half a tenth or so. So we actually lost a little bit less time. I feel I lost a little bit more than that, but even so, it was only a half a tenth there as we approach Degner 1. Now, Degner 1, we're going to go through here. We gain a little bit of time through Degner 1, so we nailed that beautifully. In fact, we're going to get to Degner 2 now. Go through there. We lost a little bit of time on Degner 2. So let's have a look at this one specifically. So we're on the brakes as we come down here. So I'm trying to go on throttle. No, I'm not. As we go through here, Wind is a little bit on throttle first, carrying a bit more speed there on the exit, and that's where I lose a little bit of time. Not carrying enough speed. I did say be aggressive there. I need to be more aggressive, and that highlights how aggressive you have to be. Wind is very aggressive there and actually benefits there a little bit. We're going to head towards the hairpin then. This is going to be an interesting corner, I'm sure, because I'm pretty sure I saw Wind exits in second gear, so let's see the difference here. So we're going to go onto the brakes right now as we go into this. We're 2 temps down. As we exit, we lose a tenth of a second, so this is interesting. Middle of the corner, Wind's carrying 3 miles an hour, 2.5 miles an hour more speed. Wind on the exit there now is it was 1 mile an hour, so it did come back to us as we get to here. In fact, the first gear is better. We do actually see the exit there. Very interesting indeed. We actually catch up that speed. Now, where is the time lost then? This is really interesting. It's just the middle of the corner. Wind's just carrying more speed. That's all it is. I just need to carry more speed into the entrance of the corner because the exit is absolutely fine. Absolutely fine indeed. Right, let's head towards Spoon then. Really interested to see that. So do try first gear. If you are struggling, give second a try. You saw 2 different approaches there. Right, we're going to Spoon then. So 2.8 goes down to 2.6. Through Spoon, 2.6. So we gain a little bit there. Nothing major. You can see I get a tighter line through there. And then the exit is fine. So we're not seeing any big issues there. Let's head towards the Casio triangle. You can see how Wind takes the shortest line, where I take the line of least resistance. And there's not, I don't think there's any real time lost there, in my opinion. Right, we're going to go onto the brakes now. We're onto the brakes first. You can see Wind is still accelerating. And then Wind's going to go on the brakes now. Speed difference is still similar, so that's not too bad. So we're going to go through here, and we do lose a bit of time there. So what happens here then? First part is absolutely fine. We've got no issues there. Wind's carrying a bit more speed through there. But then on the exits, let's have a look at speed. I think Wynn's just carried a bit more speed and actually got a better acceleration on the second part here. I don't know how. That could be gear related there in terms of the rev range. Oh, I got a bit of oversteer, didn't I? I got a bit of oversteer. That's what's caused that. I apologize. I do remember that. I got a bit of oversteer here. In fact, is that what that slip marker is there? But, oh, it could be gear change actually. Yeah, it's gear change. But literally what happens there is I get a little bit of oversteer. That's cost me a little bit of time. I'd say, what, half a tenth there? And then that's the reason why I'm down in terms of the lap. Really interesting stuff there, actually. I was surprised about turn 1. And I was surprised about the exit of the hairpin there. I was expecting to lose time, but apparently I don't. But this is what the good thing about Delta is. You can learn this stuff as you look at it. And as you use it more and more and more, you actually learn how to read the data that much better. And you can get quicker as a driver. It's really good stuff. So the key things here is what I said. It's just lift off through here. We don't lose that much time to wind, even though wind's being more aggressive. Try not to run wide at the end of the S's there. Degner 2, be very aggressive. That's one of the key corners there. Be very aggressive, Degner 2. Lots of time to be gained there. And then the Casio triangle, just be careful on the exit with the old wheel spin, which we did see on the lap. Now, that's going to be it for this guide, folks. I do hope you have enjoyed it. Once again, I've been Martin Grady, otherwise known as Tidgeny. Now, if you do have any comments, questions, make sure you leave them down below. Hit the like button and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Stay in touch with all these detailed guides brought to you by the Coach Dave Academy Gran Turismo channel. A big thank you for watching as always, and I hope to see you in some more lap guides very soon.